So you think if societies were, in terms of leadership positions, if they were occupied by women, there would be less warfare?
I don't know if that's exactly how that would happen. I feel like it depends on the individual themselves, not whether or not they're a boy or a girl.
Well, if I told you that there was a study of monarchs and they compared queens to kings, and they did this study, they actually found that queens were more war hungry than kings were, and queens were much more likely to wage war than their male counterparts.
I think that could be more for the reason that women felt that they had to establish themselves and that they were already
Well, hold on, the monarch?
Monarchs, yes.
You mean the
Yes.
the top authority?
Okay, yes. Listen, because
They have to prove themselves?
yes, because
You mean the queen? No,
Because if-
no queen or king has to prove themselves.
they do.
They have ultimate authority.
Off
They
with
have-
his head.
They have ultimate authority, but they have advisors and they have people that can rebel against them.
Who's the French king who said, "L'état, c'est moi"?
Probably one of the Louis.
Henry VIII.
I think it was
maybe?
one of the Louis. L'état, I am the state.
Oh, that's Louis the 16th.
The state is me.
Yeah.
L'état, c'est moi. Look, monarchs had substantial power.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say that usually monarchs were men.
Wait, so you're saying the queens wanted to like impress the lads?
No,
Impress
but I
the
think that
boys?
they had to be more
It's always
aggressive.
for the boys.
To be taken seriously, I think, by the
Yes.
general population, also like of their.
Yeah,
kingdom.
because yes, a monarch has all the power, but really,
They didn't need to be taken seriously.
No,
so
because
Not
really
respect
the-
maybe
people-
as a
I don't
monarch.
know.
they have to establish themselves so that there's not a rebellion.
In an age where the most important thing to every single person in the country was, am I going to be able to feed my family? They could care less. They could not care less what the position of the female monarch was.
Okay,
So,
how about the advisors, the nobles that had all the money and influence? They would care.
Well,
They see a weak monarch, and they're gonna go somehow against that monarch. So
Same with neighboring kingdoms. They would see
Yeah,
a potentially weak
100%.
monarch
I think
and-
it's definitely more complex than you're
regardless of
making it
male or
seem.
female. It's generally the case that female leadership does not understand the innate drive for protection that men find natural. It's a natural feeling that men have, and women just don't.
If women are so caring and maternal, how can they not understand the protection? If they have this innate drive to protect their kids, how can they not understand the protection of people?
Well,
It's
it's the innate
different.
drive to nurture their children.
Yeah.
It's the father's innate drive to protect his family. Like if there is a armed shooter in your house, the man's the one who's going to go stop the conflict. He's the one who's like, I am obligated to protect my family.
But if the shooter were to turn to the kid, the mom would definitely step in front. I think it just happens
It's just
to be
not.
more
It's
what
not
the
her
woman
initial
thinks,
reaction. It's usually
because
flee.
she probably thinks, but it's because she thinks that she can't help as much. The man thinks that I'm the strongest one, so I'm obligated. I think that is what a man would think.
Well, when it comes to leadership positions, that's why women tend to be more aggressive. I can't say that's exactly why. I'm just theorizing right now.
I am too.
Yeah. So my theory is that women will tend to bash all other opposing forces because they feel a sense of like unable to protect themselves. So they are more likely to confront other people that are going to be against their position.
And so I guess my argument would be is they feel that they are unable to protect themselves because they feel that they have something to prove, and they feel like already at a disadvantage and like they're not being taken seriously.
Yeah.
Which I think especially maybe right now, a woman as president, would I think she would be as power hungry? And if she was, maybe that would disprove my theory. But I think right now there wouldn't be as much of a need. But in the time when women weren't allowed to vote, when they were not given
What time was that?
during when there was monarchs, I'm not talking about the current monarchs,
But
because
what if I told you during that period where there was monarchs in most of Europe, actually men didn't have the right to vote?
No one voted.
Either.
noblemen though, with their own property,
So, okay,
right?
They didn't vote.
So like
They-
0.001% of men
Yeah, but
had the right to vote.
okay, but
So
that, yeah, more than
99%
women.
of men.
Men were the property owners. Men were the ones that had, like, I mean, okay,
But that's not a gender thing. That's a power thing.
Yeah.
yeah, but okay, well, you agree with me that men at that time had more power and more say than women, with owning property, with rights.
Yeah, they were
With their
they were
decisions.
the leaders.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
I don't.
I agree to that.
Oh, well, hold on. Actually, I do have to provide a bit of pushback because this is an apex fallacy here. So I would argue that, for this patriarchy really only benefits men at the top. Your average man, which is the vast majority of men, or below average men, I would argue struggle more than their female counterparts.
Yeah.
With what?
A great
Life.
many things.
With what?
Life.
Like,
Great many things.
like what?
It's not clear to me if you compare the average man to the average woman that he is substantially advantaged over her simply by virtue of his gender. In fact, we can do sort of almost the reverse of the apex fallacy, which is looking at what feminists tend to do is they look at, well, men have the best, most optimum positions, but you also fail to look at the counter side to that, which is while men do, I will admit, there is a greater proportion of men who occupy the most quote unquote desirable positions in society, or they have the most power in society, which is again a very small proportion of men. A much larger proportion of men, as compared to women, occupy the absolute worst positions in society. And you don't hear much about equality on that front. For example, the fact that 80% of homeless are men. If you walk down the street, actually, if you look out that window right there, and if you look outside, there's a homeless man in the rain. Well, he's covered, he's under an awning, but it's a homeless man. You walk past a homeless person, typically tends to be a man. There's a whole bunch of other things. For example, incarceration. Men are much more. And I mean, crime
Yeah.
is a different discussion.
I
but
think I think you're confusing correlation with causation, because I think that yes, I honestly don't know if that's all completely true. I haven't done my own research on men being worse off than women in everything.
Wait, so are you saying that, well, when men occupy positions of power, that's some privilege that is just bestowed upon them and there's no merit to their achievement, but when there's a negative, some sort of negative life scenario for a man, well, that has nothing to do with his gender. But when there's a benefit, 100%
No,
has to do with his
I'm not
gender.
I'm not
When there's a
saying-
negative, absolutely no correlation.
Okay, so first of all, I didn't say anything about people or men about. Okay, hold on. Let's
go
go
ahead,
back.
Make your point.
Okay, so I didn't say that had nothing to do with gender. I just was going to say that it is for different reasons than you might say. Like, for example, men being worse off could be more due to mental health and their unwillingness to go get help, especially for homelessness, which is usually a lot of mental illness. I think women are going to be more inclined to go to therapy just because of stigma.
You think therapy is what's preventing men from not being homeless? Is that that's the solution to homelessness?
No, but that's
is
one
therapy?
solution. I'm just saying that,
I don't think even one I don't think there.
I think mental illness is a huge thing that
You
is
think
overlooked.
therapy fixes that?
I think it can. I think therapy is really good, but
You think?
Yeah,
You think
100%.
mental illness that is substantial enough to result in a man being homeless is going to be resolved by
No.
therapy?
no. What I'm saying is that people with mental illnesses, before they get to the point of homelessness, should seek help because they can't manage their life on their own, which causes them to be homeless.
That's usually very severe mental illness as
Not
it relates
always,
to
but-
homelessness.
But okay.
There's also drug use. I think there's a drug
Yeah,
component
and that
to this,
also
too.
relates to mental illness too. People, I mean, I would say that I've met a lot
Wait,
of.
so sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is you can't equate it all to men somehow being at a disadvantage in society.
But hold on. So, of all the positive life outcomes that allegedly disproportionately men are the beneficiaries of, well, that's evidence of sexism against women and the patriarchy. But when there's negative life circumstances or outcomes for men, well, hold on. No, that's men's fault. There's no discrimination towards men. There's nothing, that's your argument.
Okay, how are you? Okay, let's backtrack.
Let's backtrack. We'll backtrack.
Because I think you're kind of nitpicking my argument a bit and then kind of making assumptions. How do you think that men are disadvantaged in our society to end up homeless? What do you think causes that?
Sure. I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons. The homelessness thing is very complicated. There's a whole bunch of reasons how someone can end up homeless. I would argue, for example, though, is women, when it comes to shelters, women are much more likely to end up getting shelter. When it comes to homeless people who are because there's different categorizations of homelessness. When you see homeless people who are, I think the term is living rough. So that's like when you see them on the street, they're sleeping outside. That's living rough, right? That's even, of the people that are homeless, that's a greater proportion of men. So you're asking me what are the reasons precipitating homelessness more likely impacting men?
Yeah, because you're equating it to being caused by their gender. Their gender is causing them to be worse than life.
There are simply more social safety nets afforded to women than there are men. Our society just generally likes women more than they like men. Only women and children are loved unconditionally. Men have to earn it. Men are not loved by society unless they provide certain kind of value. Generally in our society, women are praised, loved, adored, regardless of what they produce or provide. So in the case of homelessness, if a man can't provide, well, sucks to be that guy. He should just work or work on himself. But if a woman can't provide for herself, how can we help her to make sure that she stays off the streets? That's generally the attitude people will have. And that's the attitude that our systems have.
I'd say there's definitely an attitude like that when women have kids. I think that's when women are caretakers. I think that is definitely the attitude. But as far as homelessness goes, I mean, I just think that's the public, it's there's a public education that is afforded to men and women. Okay, so that is where everyone starts off. So how does one go from having access to education to being homeless
or in jail? Does that include higher education?
It could.
It could. Well, I mean, then we have to also look at the fact that, for example, more women go to college. There are more scholarships available for women, and women get more. I think it's 60-40.
So
the discrepancy.
But that's obviously.
But is that evidence of sexism? Because when it was that way in the past, when there were more men going to college than women, that was assumed to just be some
because
sexism.
It was. You talk to any woman that grew up in that time.
What time?
The time when they weren't when it was hard to go to college, when the ratio was so off. I have talked to one of my great grandma's friends, and so she was, I think, in biology, and she had gone to college and was looking for work, and she was just talking about it. It was really hard because men didn't take you seriously. Men didn't want you, weren't allowed or weren't accepted in that sphere. And so to compare that to now is just a very, very weird and doesn't make sense comparison.
We've eliminated that now. Well, actually, we've gone so far in the opposite direction that we are companies are now instituting policies where if you hire 10 men, you also have to hire 10 women. So it's are these women qualified? Hey, we have to fix our atrocities in the past to make up for those. Therefore, we have to hire underqualified people to do a job that they're not ready for. So
I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm saying that to say that the switch up and compare the circumstances now to the past, it isn't the same, because now women are, I will agree, are in some cases being given more opportunities than men in some cases, not all. And in the past, it was just very severe. I think now it's just like you have, it's kind of almost like I think a certain side is trying to make up for the lost time that women didn't spend in college, which I don't agree with. I think it should be completely equal now.
Well, I guess tying it all back to the original question,
Of patriarchy.
how is that evidence of patriarchy currently?
Well, that was in my argument.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fair, but like,
Yeah.
I guess depending on how you define patriarchy, but how is that evidence of male privilege today?
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's if we're tying it back into that subject.
So are we talking about male privilege or patriarchy?
Some people conflate those.
So, okay, I don't. I think patriarchy exists. I think it's just the way that we are organized, especially with nuclear families. You know, that's like a smaller way of looking at it. Just the way our government's set up. Does it mean it's bad? No. I think a matriarchy is more community-based, with the women kind of making the decisions as a group with equally. And in comparison, patriarchy is usually like one leader, maybe with like, you know, kind of more of a pyramid. Now with male privilege, I'm sure there is male privilege, and we could talk about the specifics of male privilege, but I think it has to do mostly just that the way that men see other men in comparison to women. I think that is going to be the primary aspect of male privilege. There's probably other little subgroups, but I think that when women talk about male privilege is when you're going into an atmosphere where you're supposed to be educated, you're supposed to have these qualifications, and the people that are judging you on those qualifications are men. They are probably going to be more inclined to think that men have those qualifications, and even if they have the same qualifications, the way that a man kind of presents himself maybe could factor into it too. But I think that men are more inclined to respect other men over women.
Yeah, and I think affirmative action hurts that.
Actually, they've done studies on this. And so what you said was men are inclined to view men as
they're going to respect them more, and that could be that they think they're more qualified, they think they're smarter, they think they're more capable, they think that they're a better leader.
Mm-hmm. Well, so they did a study on this, and I don't know if it was within the context of the workplace. It might have been more of a general thing. So it might not really be related to work. But what they found is that actually, so women have a fairly strong in-group bias for other women, and men have a slight out-group bias for women.
What does it relate to?
I'm not entirely sure,
because I think that really makes
it could be more,
a difference.
It could be more of a general social sense of it. I'd have to look at the study to give you exactly what they were looking at, but it does seem to be that women have a decently strong in-group bias. Men have an out-group bias for women, like a favorable thing.
Women like women, men tend to like women. No one likes men more than women.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know about in the workplace. I think I can see that maybe in a social setting. I think especially women do have a bias towards other women, just because I don't know, like I can just it feels more safe. There's just a little bit of a community, and maybe
it feels more safe.
It feels more safe.
Isn't that a bit of a sexist statement to make?
No.
What are you trying to? Are men unsafe? Is that?
Yeah. I feel unsafe. I can feel unsafe around men. I don't think that is.
You can feel that way, but isn't it a bit of a sexist statement to?
No, because men. No, not at all. So men pose the biggest danger to me.
Men are the biggest danger to you?
Not men in
a day-to-day sense.
In a day-to-day sense, if there was a woman, a stranger, a woman walking.
Criminals are a threat to you.
Yes.
But it's not clear if men.
Because they possess the ability to incapacitate me. I think the reason that I would feel unsafe, even if they wouldn't.
I have a question for you
Yeah.
on that. If we were to replace men with a racial group, would it be racist to say what you just said?
I don't think it would be.
Would it be racist? Just replace men with a racial group. Would that be a racist thing to say? I'm scared of X racial group.
Because
Okay,
statistically,
yeah, I
they're
think-
more violent and aggravated.
Yeah, I
than
think
this
you're
other
twisting my
racial
words.
I'm not
right
twisting.
now.
No, I'm not
Because,
twisting your
okay,
words.
what I'm
giving
saying-
you a hypothetical.
I'm
Answer the
saying-
question. Hold
okay,
on. Answer
yeah.
the question.
Hold on.
Answer the question.
Is this race stronger
Would
than
it-
me? Like, do they have a history of abusing women? Like, it's just like there's just all these factors that I'm talking about that are related to men and not a race. So it's
But
kind of hard for
engage
you.
with the hypothetical.
Yeah, I'm trying
Would
to,
it
but
be
it's also
That same scenario can be
devoid of any evidence. Let's just say you changed men to a racial group. Would it be a racist statement to say that X racial group? I'm scared of X racial group
because they're bigger,
because
faster, stronger.
I think that has been done in the past, but I think what
So
I'm
it's
talking
sexist.
so then it must.
No.
It's sexist.
no,
I
but
don't
what
think
I'm
it's
talking I don't
sexist to fear for your safety. I think
Yeah.
she's saying like,
Are you kidding
right
me?
now,
Like-
going outside, walking down the street.
I'm
you
going
would
to be
then
more
is it-
scared of a
so-
man on the
So
street
is it
than a woman,
racist
regardless
to fear,
if he's a criminal
like,
or not,
being
because
in
I
a
don't
certain
know.
Area?
I don't think it's racist.
Okay,
to
you know
I
what?
don't
This is
think
here.
so.
This is going to be my main point.
What's your main point?
The reason that it's scary to be around men and some, like the reason that I would feel more unsafe around men is because I don't know what they are capable of. And a man can never have been to jail, but could and so maybe not be classified as a criminal in the legal sense, but he could still pose a risk to me because he can't be predicted.
Okay, so make that same exact statement and replace it with a racial group. Does that statement become racist?
I don't know.
Well, it's.
I just think that's like you're.
different thing as well.
I think it's different, and I think it's like.
I don't
are
think
you-
it's different. I don't think it's
I mean,
that
at least
different.
right now,
Devon Jackson donated $100. A matriarchy would just look like a group of women deciding where to direct male bodies, effort and suffering to achieve human endeavors if we are being honest.
Yo, Davon Jackson, good to see you in the chat, man. Thank you for your TTS. Appreciate it. You mentioned when you go out into the street, you feel unsafe.
I'm saying, no, I was using that as an example. to
I'm
say-
moving on from the racial thing, but you say when you
Yeah.
go out into the street, like you feel unsafe
I was
because
saying,
you're a woman.
When you're
I-
around,
yeah.
when you're around,
You'd
when
have
you're
to be
around
more-
men, you feel
I'd say I feel less
safe than if
I
you
feel
were around women.
Okay, yes, because
Okay.
around women, there is a sense of community. I think maybe you just don't understand what I'm saying because you guys are men. But like, if I'm going out, if I'm going to a bar,
Wait,
like
we don't understand what you're saying because we're men?
because you
Hold
haven't.
on. That's a bit of a sexist
That's-
statement.
No,
That's
because
a little sexist right there.
No,
I have-
okay,
we-
okay,
no,
fine.
we
okay,
have-
it's not just
we
that. So
have
you don't have the
influence.
same
said we
experiences
don't know
that
what
we
you
have.
guys experience because you guys are naturally protective and we wouldn't know that.
I didn't say that shit.
Okay.
Well,
no.
well-
okay. What I'm saying is, you guys don't have the experience, and so you might not
What
understand
experience?
the experience of walking outside
up as a
of
girl.
constantly being raised to look out for yourself.
Well,
because you-
actually,
yeah. Most violent crime is perpetrated against men. It's men on men. So actually, statistically, men should be more scared of going outside than women.
men are more likely to be victims of
Okay,
violent
but
crime.
like that one question,
But-
who are you afraid of though?
yeah.
That-
are
that's
you
kind of
do you
irrelevant.
guys ever
No,
feel
but I'm
unsafe
saying-
when you go outside and walk
Yeah,
by yourself?
Statistically, more
Yeah.
than you.
Do you feel no?
Are you
no,
feeling
like,
threatened by
no,
men
I'm
though, or
talking
are
about
you feeling threatened by
personally,
women? Is really the question.
Yes, I have. I mean, I'm
Not have you? Do you?
Yes.
Do you on a regular basis feel unsafe when you're like walking by yourself?
Yeah.
Because maybe that's just you two, but I just don't think that is a common experience with men. I think also women are raised to fear for themselves and to not put themselves in scenarios where they could be taken advantage of by men. At least maybe that's how I was raised by my parents, but my parents have always like warned me that men cannot be trusted and you have to be careful.
Men cannot be trusted.
Yes.
That's a
Wait,
rather
okay.
sexist thing for
It's-
your mom to have taught you.
Parents,
But it's not like
more-
statistically like.
You just well, hold on.
okay.
Explain
if this
to me.
helps you
hold on.
here.
Wait, hold on. Let me just make my point. explain to me how the following statement is not sexist. Men are not to be trusted.
Okay.
No. Answer the question.
What? How is that not
How
sexist?
is that not just...
Men can't be, okay, like anyone can't be trusted, but the point they're making is that men can't be trusted and they could use that against you.
Let me ask you, okay, hold on, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. No, hold on.
A
Let me
man,
ask you a
maybe
question.
it would be a different thing. If
Let me-
I could protect
If I were to
myself.
say women can't be trusted, is that a sexist statement?
I would just be like, okay, I don't know.
Is it a
sure.
sexist statement?
I don't think so.
You don't
I
think
think
so?
that's the opinion. I think it's just like,
Is it a sexist opinion?
I don't know.
Women cannot be...
Okay,
That,
you're trying to make me. You're trying to like put me into a loophole, or not a loophole.
It's not a loophole.
Not a loophole. I'm not. Yeah, forget I said that. You're trying to make me sound
That's
sexist
true.
by asking me these hypotheticals.
It's not-
Okay, hold on, because
I don't
Okay.
think that there's like a reason why we need to like classify this as being sexist. She's talking about like
yeah,
Wait.
I'm
an
talking about a
issue.
different issue.
that's the name of the game for feminists.
No, it's
Classi-
not. Did I even
classifying-
say I was a feminist? Like you're
I
just
think you
making.
might
No,
have.
she
No, I
didn't.
We were talking
didn't.
about the patriarchy. That's a feminist
I'm
conspiracy
saying
theory.
Yes, conspiracy theory.
It's a feminist conspiracy theory.
Yes.
If I'll be charitable, it's a feminist
Thank you, Kyle.
theory.
I'm not against guns, actually. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I mean,
kind- okay.
yeah, I was about to say that. Thank goodness we have a Second Amendment right
Thank
to make sure that women cannot be taken advantage of by men so easily.
But I think ignoring the fact that women do feel unsafe when they're walking outside, like at night by themselves,
Yeah.
whatever, I don't think that that's an issue that can be ignored and just be chalked up to be like, oh, but that's sexist.
Okay, and actually, we completely derailed from my point. I had just mentioned that women feel unsafe, and that was why women
Hold on.
kind of group together.
If I was just paranoid about, I'm trying to think of an example here to like a counterpoint. If I was just paranoid about all women being gold diggers and this was like a concern of mine, would that not be a sexist position?
No.
That
No.
to
All
think
women are
all
gold
women
diggers.
are
All you want
gold
from me
diggers
is my
or
money
potential
and
I
gold
don't think
diggers?
that's sexist.
resources.
But
I
isn't-
think it's just a
isn't-
stupid statement.
That's also not
It's-
going to cause you physical harm.
Wait,
Okay,
hold on.
you're saying, okay, because you're saying by grouping women all together. Okay, I think you're saying that I think all men are bad. That is not the statement I'm making. I'm saying the statement I'm making is a generalization that all men can be bad, not that they are bad. So you're saying
So can all women be bad?
Yes, 100%. But the point I'm also making is that men have the ability physically. Okay.
Nickelodeon donated
Yeah, thanks, man.
$100.
Appreciate it.
When I walk to the grocery store, I have keys between my finger if I need a weapon to punch a man in the face.
That is
When I
not
approach
true.
a woman in the bar, I have to choose my words carefully to not get arrested.
Can I add something?
That
to
is
as
so
well?
dramatic. Are you
Okay.
kidding me?
Nickelodeon, you're fucking legends.
What
Thanks,
words
bro.
are you saying that's going to get you arrested,
What you
dude?
got?
Okay, so remember when earlier we were talking about jobs, right? Police jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
Women, if it was to be 3 women trying to take down 1 man
Yep.
versus 1 man trying to take down another man, we have to take stuff like that into consideration. Okay, yeah, maybe it is a little bit sexist if girls are just like, oh, like we're afraid to walk on the street because of men. Why are you guys afraid to walk on the street? Because you feel like a group of girls is going to come up and punch you in the face? I mean, look at what's going on in New York right now. You have literally one punch man
Yeah, that's terrible.
running around and punching girls like just cuz. But that's the kind of stuff that we have to deal with. That shit really happens.
Yeah, but
Okay.
So generally speaking, well, not even generally speaking, if bystanders watch a woman being physically assaulted, they will step in. Men will step in and make sure it is stopped. when the
stepped in for
when
this
the
woman in New
reverse
York.
when the reverse is happening, people just ignore it. If a woman is beating on a man, like they just ignore it. Like
No,
it, so I mean,
they probably
I'd-
would call the
I'd
police for
agree with
domestic
that
abuse,
statement.
actually.
that is just not true though. Like experiments have been done, social experiments have been done, and women don't like
maybe it's just, and maybe that
something
is
we
a
have to
societal bias because
towards women.
Yeah. Society thinks that if the man really
So
wanted to defend
tying
himself,
it
he could.
all back
All right,
into the original
yeah.
topic.
Yeah,
of
seriously, this was like completely
dating.
like
female
Yeah,
privilege.
seriously.
Yeah. Okay. Final question. We need to wrap up, but Are under patriarchy, are women oppressed?
No.
I feel like we've gotten way off topic from relationships.
agree.
The majority of this podcast has not been about relationships.
We talked about munches. We talked about
I know.
He made sure to get all of our
Munches.
body
It's like
parts.
talked about
Munches.
we
I
talked
just-
about gender roles.
I feel like you're just asking a group of random people.
Devon Jackson donated $100. As a man who was raised to protect women even if I don't know them, I can say more men than not would protect you than hurt you. Not only am I concerned for myself when I go outside, but women too.
It's a fair statement.
All right.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
Also, I will say, when it comes to the threat of violence out in the street, as women, if some guy starts attacking you and there's other men around, not always, but you do sort of have, like, there probably will be a man or many men who will be prepared, total stranger, who will be prepared to white knight and jump in and defend you. I shouldn't say white knight necessarily, but they'll be prepared to go ahead and defend a total stranger.
Beat the piss out of that man.
That dude, like if a dude, like if you go to a college party and a guy like were to hit a girl, I think there's a pretty good chance that like total strangers who don't know the girl are gonna swarm on the dude. Bro, there's a dude, that guy gets fucking lynched.
Sure.
he might
Like
be done.
fucked up.
Okay.
Whereas like if a dude just walks up to a random dude and hits them, there won't be random men who aren't affiliated with that dude who will like jump in to try to defend that guy.
You're probably right. They're just gonna try to split them apart.
Maybe. They might. They're much more likely to try to break it up if it's a woman, and then the dude's going to get a beat down. So, I mean, you do have this, there's too much of this, like, men are these criminals. I also should say, like, men are going to be there to also protect you, too. We don't speak enough about, like, male heroism.
No.
I would say the majority of men, like women, benefit from the patriarchy because a majority of men are there to protect women. Of course, there are going to be men who abuse their strength and use it to hurt women, and I will be there to make sure that does not happen. But that is also the majority of men. I think the majority of men would stand in front of a bullet.
Really quick.
Yeah.
Double bicep really quick.
Yeah,
Dude,
can I have you on call or what?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I need
Take
to
my
walk
number
home.
anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Wait.
majority of men are there to protect women. So like,
Yeah, if me or Mason, like, we get jumped by 3 dudes, like, there's not going to be other dudes. Unless they're
generally
our,
speaking,
our
I have to fight
friends.
for my own life.
Unless they're friends, if there's like other dudes around,
Yeah.
they'll never intervene and like
Okay.
try to help us.
I mean, I agree. So what's the
Yeah.
point, though?
You have a
Yeah.
little bit of protection
Yeah.
out there
Is
from
that it,
from
though?
men,
Is
from
that
other
it,
men.
though?
Well,
Because
just,
it's also
like,
who
under
are
a
you protecting the
patriarchy.
women from? Who are you protecting women from?
But-
You know, like I don't understand the point of that argument. I agree.
No,
Like,
under the patriarchy,
is it the patriarchy that
protect women.
guarantees that?
I don't know. I need to like. This always comes up when we're having these conversations. Like, well, but who's the like?
You know, I mean, if you're gonna act like the savior, then it's like also like who are you saving the the girl
Criminals.
from? But you know, like the criminal could be like any man really.
I need to actually. This almost
Yeah.
always comes up in this
Yeah.
conversation. I actually think it's a fallacious argument to say, well, but who's the one who's being the
Well,
violent person?
okay, I
who's
would-
the one who's doing the bad thing?
Yeah,
Who's
but-
the cause of this bad thing that's
But
impacting men?
you know what I-
It's men.
No.
I know that it's a fallacious argument, and I don't have a rebuttal to it.
Right.
I know there's a rebuttal to it
Alright.
because it's a fallacious argument. I just don't have it off the top of my
The
head.
point I was
Well,
making is
I'm
that
transferring the violence that is impending upon you to me. So like, as a woman in society, you get that privilege that if someone is attacking you, men will step in if they are available, if they're ready, and
That's
they're
if
standing
you're
there.
around, though.
Yeah, that's
if
you're around.
you're around. That's like, I feel like that's...
Well, like that. So the enforcement arm of the law, so police officers, I mean, they will step in for anybody, but they will overwhelmingly, like, men will step in for women to protect them, to take the violence
If not
off of
right,
them
the
and put
same
it on
reason-
themselves.
The same reason why you don't, I don't, other people don't agree with men trans women competing in.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
I don't know if it's trans men or women. I don't know what the competing in women's sports because of the physical difference.
How did we get here?
Because of the physical difference, the same reason that, like, it applies to this situation too. Men are physically stronger, bigger, faster than women are. Just looking at the small situation that there will be men around, there will be police officers around. Like, we can't just like zoom into that fact and ignore all the other situations where there are situations where women have to fight for themselves against a man.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
But in the majority of situations, like if a man gets in a fight with another man, if they're alone, okay, regardless if it's a woman, if it's a man, they're going to get beat down. That's terrible, whatever. But if there are men around, they will step in to protect the women. If there are men around for the two-man fight, they will not step in.
I agree, and I think that's a horrible issue, but I think that's
But is that
separate.
patriarchy,
also said
or is that
something
just because...
I think it is patriarchy.
Or is it just
because
because...
it's ingrained in men to protect those who are less able to.
Yeah. But is that the patriarchy?
But it can also be used. Yeah, I would agree that it's the patriarchy because in the natural world, you see that not just in humans, but also in animals. Animals will protect those that are under it. So male lions will protect its harem. Like
That's not the structure of all animals, though.
I don't know.
Yeah, hyenas. We watched National Geographic.
Are you talking about that?
Because
about, like,
hyenas,
women, the female hyenas have penises?
Well, that, but also
no,
like
they don't.
I thought
like,
they have penises.
No, they can
They
like
do.
wait, do they?
Yeah.
Female hyenas have.
No, it's because they can
penis.
retract their like
No, they
sexual
got-
organs to allow.
They got
I
dicks.
forgot the name for that.
Those
also,
female hyenas.
with-
Ooh, they got some penises. They got some
No,
schlongs
but-
on them. God damn, have you seen a female hyena penis? Sorry.